আমরা করেছিলাম স্যার ওই এসকিউএল কোয়ারিটা মানে করেছিলাম স্যার।
Right. So today we will do another thing, that is how to use SOQL query in Apex code. So for that there are two different things. First thing is that how we can so first thing is how we can put some query and how we can get the result in Apex. Okay. So how we can do that? This is the way. Like we can define a list and we don't need to initialize that, but within square bracket or third bracket we can just write our query. Okay, we can just write our query where we can write name equal to this or name like a percentage. That will, a percentage means whatever account is started with a, the name of the account. Now this will return a list. This query will return a list of records of account which will be stored in this list. Okay. So that is the way we can write our query. Now, this is one of the thing. So let me give you this link. You have to study from this link itself. Now, there is another part. That is, whenever we are writing this query, there would be situation when you have to pass the arguments uh, from some variable. Okay, say there is a UI screen and there is one field called account name. Somebody is typing any account name. That account name, the records with that account name or anything like starting with that account name, whatever text is placed there, that should return in your result. So in that situation, whatever input you are giving in the text box in UI, that you have to bring back to your SOQL query in where clause, right? So that is called actually dynamic query. Before going to that, let me show you another thing, that is SOQL for loop. This SOQL for loop is another important thing. Like you can directly write a query for any list, and with that list you can iterate through that list, loop through that list, and you can do whatever you want to do. Here they are just assigning the account name. That is fine. But my point is that without having this, there is another way, that is you are directly writing the query in for loop. Okay, so these two things, like how to loop through and using SOQL for loop in your uh, code, that is one of the important thing. How we can do that? This is the way.
So sir, two way. One way is like I have declared first list. Okay, then I use the for loop. Okay, and another
So
way
you
is
have declared the list and you have, like, here you were saying,
this for loop is like
here
uh,
you are not defining the list, you are just
okay,
taking the loop variable and you are putting the query, and
right.
that query will actually uh, return the records one after another, and that would be handled through this variable within loop. Anything a dot name will give you the name of the account of the current record, and there is another way, that is you query, put the query, return the result in a, store the result in a list and iterate through that list. Okay, so there are two ways you can do this. Mostly that is the same thing. It is not much different, right?
Yes.
So I will give you some more reference to this syntax. Just give me another 1 minute. I am getting one call. Sorry, guys. So just do one thing. I have given you reference of how you can write SQL query, and the other part is this one. That is how you can loop through the results of a query in Apex. Okay. So just try to write a simple class and a simple method which will print all the accounts which the starting feature starting with A. Okay.
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 Write a class and a method to print all the accounts where name is starting with A. Okay, first let's do this thing, then we will go to dynamic query.
And sir, which field values we need to fetch up from the accounts? Any fields?
Only the name
Only
of
the
those
name.
accounts.
Yeah. Okay. Hello.
Hmm.
Yes, I have written it.
Okay. Others, have you completed? You can take five
Yes, sir.
minutes more. Yeah, you can take 5 minutes more. Let's complete everybody, at least at your end, and then we will look into this and its test class.
Sir, do I need to write a test class for that?
We have to.
Yes,
We
sir.
have.
One question I have, this class is not completed, right? So after the completion, we can write the test class.
Yeah, that class is completed.
This class is completed. Okay.
Sorry. Yes, you only have to fetch the accounts and print the account name. That's it.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Sir, I've completed the test class also. Can I show you?
Yes, I have done.
Are we done?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I've done the test class and class.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anyone show your screen, and from there we can just go ahead.
Can I show my screen?
Yep.
I'm sharing my screen. Okay. Is it visible, sir?
Coming.
Yeah. Here is the class, sir.
you are keeping that as static. Okay. Anyway,
Yeah.
that is fine. Mm, So when you are trying to print the name, you are whatever you are querying, that is good. But when you are printing that, that would take this ACC as a list. So say you are just querying name comma email.
Okay.
In that situation, it will print name email both. Even if you are not fetching email and you are just putting ACC, then it will not only print the name, it will print the name within second bracket and with this thing name colon ACC, name colon the account name 1, name colon account name 2, like this.
Okay, sir.
In that case, I think
So,
we have to do like that variable name dot name, right?
Yes,
Like
sir.
right,
ACC dot name.
ACC
Yes.
dot name will print the
Okay, sorry,
string.
sorry. I forgot. I
That is
forgot.
the
Yeah,
that
yeah,
is the
yeah.
difference.
Yes,
No,
yes.
that is fine. Whatever you have done, that is good. But this is the important part, that when you have to handle or fetch any field, you have to use that dot and then the field name.
Field
You
name.
can
Yes.
put ACC dot name.
Okay.
Good. Now let's sorry, look into the test class. So here, whatever you have written, have you executed this test class?
Yes, sir. Yeah, here you here yeah the status is success and the code coverage is 100%.
What is that problem?
SQL class. Okay. Yeah, I'll say this.
No such column email. That is fine. You can just remove that, because mostly that should be work email or this kind of field name.
Okay. Yeah.
You remove that email. That is fine. So hopefully it should be working.
Yeah. Yes.
Now,
Now the
now
problem is
let's
gone.
move that to. Can you just run this? Run
Yeah.
test.
Sure, sir.
Now
And the
go back
status
to
is
that. Go back to that class and check
yes,
how much it is covered.
100%, sir.
Okay, because you have only system.debug in between.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Just do one thing, that is except system.debug, you just concatenate the name field with um, this ID and name. Okay, select ID comma name from
Okay.
account,
Sorry.
and after system.debug, just do one thing, put string um, ID and name, something like that. No, the you cannot put space. You cannot put space. Yeah,
ID
This is
comma
a
name,
string
right?
variable. Yes.
it is a strict variable name. So
Hmm.
ID
Okay. Okay.
comma name is the
Hmm.
should be the okay,
Yeah.
and then put ID equals to acc.id. Put name equals to acc.name. You are not using these things till now. uh, like you could have directly print the name as well, that is fine, but
Yeah.
here we are doing this. Just save it and check if there is any error or not?
No, sir. Look
Good.
like that.
Now run your test class again. Now go back to your class and check how much it is covered.
I think 50%, 40%, yes.
So now you will understand like system.debug is actually omitted from your test class and methods. They ignore system.debug. But
Yes, sir.
if you are doing anything, like if you have some real statement, then it will not like it will not ignore it. Now what is the why it has happened? Like previously it was showing 100%, now it is not showing any like it is not covering these three lines which we have written. What
Yes,
is
sir.
the reason behind it?
Because we have to cover this line as well.
How you can cover that? So that's what I was just trying to explain you guys. Like
I
till now we have written test classes where we have only looked into the logic. But there is another thing, that is the data part. When we are executing test method, that is executing in test context, that will not check any system data by default. Okay. There is one annotation called see all data true. See all data true means whatever data is present in your system currently, it will take that and execute your test class depending on that test data, like not the test data, the real data of your system. But that is not suggested. There are special occasions where we do that. Otherwise we must not do that, because by default see all data is always false default if you are not writing that statement.
Okay.
So, whenever we are executing any test method where we have any query, we have anything like we are just checking with some data, the first thing you have to do, you have to prepare your test data. Preparing test data means here you have to define few accounts first in your test method. Go back to your test method. Before calling this method, within that SQL class dot SQL method, before that line, you have to create few accounts. Okay.
Okay.
So for that, what you can do, you can just write account A1
Okay.
equals to new account. No name. Yeah, you can put name equals to something with A.
a test data can be created under @test setup.
Yes, that depends. Like you don't always need that.
Okay.
Sir, here we are creating instance of account and some account data, but
Right,
this data is not available on the database itself. So how the query will read it?
where it is in text context. So whenever your test class is executing, it will take this test data. It will insert that data temporarily in the system. It will look into these things, and that is a virtual execution, and it will remove that data. Like it will not be a permanent one. Whatever
Mhm.
data you are creating for from your test class.
Means the transaction will be rolled back.
Ideally, yes. Like it is not like rollback, it is a virtual thing, it is doing at the background.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, here is the problem, sir. So I want to add this account in this account variable, but it is not working. I mean,
That
it is showing
variable is
copy.
not defined as account variable, I guess, because you
Yeah, yeah,
haven't
okay, okay,
defined.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Just a
yes.
minute. I am not looking
Okay.
into your screen right now, but I will. Just give me 1 minute. So add ACC is not the required thing. You have to write insert A1 comma insert and semicolon, and the next statement is insert A2. Now, what is this insert? Why we are writing insert here? We will come back to that later.
Part of
So
DML, right,
isn't it
sir?
a DML part? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, this is the
because of
game.
writing this insert, aren't we like pushing the data into the database, or it is still in that
It is
rollback?
not the real data that you are creating.
Okay,
So
okay.
as you are creating data within your test class, that is nothing but a virtual one you are creating.
Okay.
Okay. Now execute this test class. Go back to your
Yeah,
class
the
and check.
port coverage is 100%.
Okay.
Why? Because now it is getting at least one, here too, at least one account record in your test data needs to be there to execute these lines.
Mm.
Otherwise, like that for one, the for loop starting statement, even if you do not have any record which is starting with a in account, then also that line is executed, right? That line is executed, the return was false, so it didn't go into the loop
Mhm.
initially. Second scenario, when you have created that data, it has come back to your system, and it is checking whether there is any record which is starting with a. The answer is yes, so it is going in the loop. Now there are two things you have to do. First thing is that go back to your org and check all accounts.
This is the
Search
only
with
one.
account test 2 and account test 3. That was the name you have given, right?
Yes, sir, yes, sir. But there is no account left to fill, I guess. Yeah.
So the data is not created in real world. I
Yes, sir.
mean to say in your actual environment.
Okay.
Clear?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Got
Why
it.
it didn't? Because it is no, it is within your test class. At the rate test, you have to create that. Like sometimes we want to create the test data, like for there are, say there are multiple classes you have written, for that you need to create this test account 1, test account 2 multiple times, or you need that data every time. Then what you will do, the way to do that is that create your test data in a separate class and execute your test methods from a different class, and before that just call that previous test method where you are creating that data only, right?
Mm.
That might be one scenario. We don't need to go to that right now, but later we will do that because that is one of the best practice we should follow. But now what we were trying to look into, that whether that data is created in real, the answer is no, right? Because we have checked in our org and we didn't find whatever we have created from this test method, right? So
Yes.
whenever we are writing any class, test class, we have to create the test data, or we have to create the uh, those records, whatever is required to test this uh, functionality, right? Now go back to your original class. Before the starting of that loop, just define one integer variable and initialize that with 0. Within your for loop, after all these things, just put I equals to I plus 1 or I plus plus, whatever it is, within for loop.
Within the body, like not
No,
in
no,
the
no, not there,
first.
not there.
Yes, yes,
Just
within the body.
after line number 9.
Okay, sorry.
No, go to line number 9 first, put enter,
Oh,
and
oh,
define I equals to I plus 1. So what it will do, this is within the loop. I don't know how many times
I equal to I plus 1.
I equals to I plus 1 should be the statement. I equals to I plus plus will give you the previous value of I.
okay. I is equal to I plus 1, right, sir?
Right.
Yes.
So what it will do, anyway, what is the issue? Just check that.
Extra.
Comma, and
You have
Sorry,
put
Yes,
sorry.
that
yes. In
comma
the
there.
yeah
Yep.
condition of for.
So that means it will give you the count how many records which is starting with A is in your system. Now go back to your test class. Wait, just a minute. Sorry. Just go back to your class. Yeah. Instead of void, write integer. So that means you are returning integer now. And after this, no, not from there. It is not the closing statement of that method. It is
Method.
you,
Okay, sir.
you are from for loop. If you are returning it, that means after
Hmm.
execution of the first uh, iteration of that for loop, it will go, it will try to get out of that method, because return
Yes.
statement should be the last statement of the method. Within for loop, you must not write return. Remember that
Mhm.
always. You must not write return within for loop. And that's
Okay.
why when you are writing your code, it should be properly indented. Line 6
Okay.
and 7 is not in proper indentation.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Anyway, uh, after this for loop, just put that return. Just closing, before closing that method, return I. Okay. Now go back to your test method. Here, just create another account where account name is not starting with A. Like just account A3 equals to new account name equals to test, or test 2, 3, 4, whatever it is. Now, ideally, if you were calling this method, now it should return a number now, some integer, right?
Yes, sir.
Let's define one integer
Here?
here. Yes. Integer, any name you can
Okay.
put. I,
Integer n. Yes.
M, N, whatever it is.
N is equal to 0, right, sir?
You can put that does not make much sense, but you can put equals to 0. That is fine.
Okay.
Semicolon. Now put n equals to this query, like this method calling. That is in line number 14. What is it?
Okay.
In your line number 14? Put n equals to that, or just, yeah, copy this and put n equals to that.
Should I remove this line?
Yes. So that means within n you will find the Now put the system dot assert equals. So what is your expected here?
Expected is I guess n.
Like the number of accounts starting with n.
Yeah.
With A.
With
So
a, yes, a.
exactly. So that is the N.
Yeah,
Expected is N here.
n.
And what is your actual?
Actual is
Could be 2. That's
2.
what
yeah,
you are
yeah,
putting here.
okay.
Put semicolon. Yeah. Now let's see whether it is working properly or not. Execute this one. It is success.
Success.
Now just don't change anything else. Go back to that test class. Don't change anything else. Just add another account with where account name starting with A. You have put A3 previously, but you haven't put that insert A3. Okay. So first put insert A3 and then put insert A4, because
Yes, yes,
until
yes.
and unless you are putting that insert, it will not considered as a method. It would not be considered as a method. Sorry, record, not method. It would not, the system will not consider that. Yeah, put anything. Now exit, now, yeah, insert 4.
Okay.
Now execute it.
Yeah, the
Open it.
status is showing failed.
Open it.
Okay.
Check where that system assert thing is getting the debug.
Yeah,
No, not the debug log.
okay. Account 2, here. Account 3.
Go
Test
to the end.
4.
It will almost at the end.
Then duplicate. I think.
No, no, no. That is fine. You don't need to bother about duplicate rule here. We'll come back to that
Yeah,
later.
failed. Yeah, here I think system dot as
Yeah,
expectation.
previously also. So
Yeah,
expected 3, actual 2.
okay.
So that means now it is considering with the third record, the count is increased. Now you can
Right.
understand why it is told that system.assert is required. System.assert is required to understand whatever is your expected and whatever is your
Actual hello.
actual data. That you, if you know properly, then only you can say that your business cases and your business purpose is fulfilled from that class. If not, you cannot say. And system.assert is actually giving you this concept, because if you comment it out, this method will pass and you will not understand that what mistake you have done, or what where the issue in your logic or your understanding. So
Yes,
that
sir.
is why system.assert is required. Okay. And system.assert, it can be utilized in multiple, it it can be utilized in multiple ways. Like system.assert can be, like, say something you just want to check that it can be anything but this. In that situation you can use a negative, uh, like not equal kind of thing. in system assert. That comes with exclamation. Anyway, that is a different thing. We will probably you can just look into that later as well. But the
Yes.
important part is I have given you one trailhead. That trailhead is for Apex test class, uh, regarding test data, like how you can prepare your test data. Okay, so
Okay.
complete this trail next day by next day, and complete the remaining part of the test class. Probably there is one thing you haven't covered in your test class in trailhead previously, which I have shared. So that
There's
you,
Yeah,
SQL.
someone is saying something.
Yes, I'm saying that
Open in
like
English. This is Spanish coming in. Just at the top, just click on
mm,
English. I'm not sure why it is happening. So this one is actually giving you the idea.
again it is showing in Spanish.
Right. No, go back to not that one.
Mm.
Beside that star, there is another thing, another
Yeah.
icon that is arrow. Some just go left, little left,
Okay.
left.
This one.
Yeah. No, it is sharing, right?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Click on that three dot. Go to settings. Search at the top. Search translation. That was fine. Whatever you have written previously, that was giving you the settings. Just let me look into this. Wait. Uh, Scroll a little down.
Right.
Put that English, yeah, on that. That is fine. It should get the translation. Okay, go back to that page. Let it be there. Yeah, go back to that. Oh, open. Yeah, refresh it.
No.
Click the right icon after the star.
This one, sir.
Yeah, this is
This is
extension.
an extension.
Why it is now it is not coming? You have you done anything with that
No,
window?
no, 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 sir.
Just give me one sec. just do this.
Request translation for setting, then click advanced language. Okay, advanced.
Language, then advanced probably.
There is no. This one, then at the bottom, click advanced, then click language, languages, then language. Offer to translate page that are not in English. Okay. No, sir. Hmm.
Just go back to that. Uh, Go back to that article which I have
Okay.
shared with you. Copy this thing. Offer to translate page that aren't in your language. That part. Copy that and go and paste in that settings. Yeah, put that there.
Uh,
It is already there.
already, yes.
So ideally, it should give you, like, I'm not sure why it is not. Just close that trailhead and open that once more. Probably then you will get that option. It seems like probably you have closed it by, or it has been closed in some way. Not this one, the
Okay,
above.
sorry, sorry, sorry. Still, it is showing in Spanish.
What configuration has enabled for which it is not getting translated as well. Um,
Can anyone share his screen?
yeah, just,
Can I, sir?
or let me share my screen.
Okay.
For me, this translation is showing always translate Spanish. I have already clicked, so let me share my screen.
Okay, sir.
So this is the unit. Create create test data for Apex test. Okay. So this is the test and this is the data they are creating. Okay. This is for utility method. This is also important. And then after doing this, just complete this challenge. Then you will get the flavor of how to do this hands-on. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
Sir, any assignments?
Later, this is one of the assignment you should complete.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Now the other part, which, which is the dynamic SOQL. I believe you have got the things till now, what we have looked into. Now there is another part, that is dynamic SOQL. That is, say, something you have to follow. Like this one, that a percentage whatever you have given, that is the static, right? Say I just want to pass some argument in some method, that whatever argument I am passing, the account name should be the same, or account name should start with that string. In that scenario, how we can work with that? The way to work with that is that we should be able to prepare our query. Okay, and prepare our query means query is nothing but a string which we can prepare and then we can execute.
That
The
is the
way
reason
to
these
do that
dynamic queries are in like single quote
right,
because it is string.
right. So dynamically you can build your query. That is, you can build a string dynamically with plus sign. You can just concat those strings and then you can execute that query. How to do that? Database.query. What is database.query? Database.query is nothing but preparing, like, you can execute a string as a query, and obviously that query string needs to be well formed. That must not be a malformed query. Okay, so if you can form a query properly in a string, then you can execute that string as a query with this database.query. Now here database is a class. Okay, and that is, it is important to understand this class. Why? Because we are going to learn few more things with this from this database class. And when you are going through this dynamic is okay. Well, I believe I have already shared, but let me share this once again. Read through it. Next day, let me know what you have understood. Just read through this. What is SOQL injection?
Okay.
Now, mm, SOQL for loop is fine. I just want the database class. This database class will help you to do most of the DMLs, specific DMLs. What is that? One of the method is insert. Any of these insert you can look into. How you should go through or learn through one class. This is the way. Database is a class, and this method insert is defined as a static method, public static. Okay, and what it returns? It returns database.save result. What it does, I'm coming to that. Before that, just understand this signature. Public, you can access it from anywhere. Static, you have to access this with class variable, that is database dot insert. What is database dot save result? Save result is a list that it is returning. What is that? We will come to that later. Now, S object insert record. S object means it can be a single thing, single method, like how you have written your insert previously. There were only one record you were inserting from your insert, Shujoy, when you have written your class, right? If
Yes, sir.
everyone can remember that, you were inserting only one record, but you can insert a list as a whole. You can insert a list with this insert method. So how that is possible? Because insert is that many overloaded methods are there, that many. You can just go through each and every method to check what is the difference. Okay. So this all or none means you can just use one true or false value. All or none means if that is true, that means if there is, say you are inserting one list and there are 10 records, if there is any issue to insert only one record, then also the remaining 9 records will not get inserted. If it is false, that means it will insert those 9 records and for one it will return the error. That is what all or none means. Okay. Now with this signature, and the return type is database.saveResult. So how you have used your insert previously, that is the only insert. In your test class, only insert is fine. But in your actual class where you are trying to do any insert or update or anything, you must use database.insert, not that simple insert. Okay. You always use database.insert there. Database.insert, database.update, database.delete, anything. Anything you are doing from your Apex class, that should be database dot. In your test method, you can use that simple insert. That is fine. I will not bother about that for now, at least. But within your test class, within your actual class, when you are writing any DML, that is insert or update or delete, you must use database.insert. Why? I'm coming to those reasons. First thing is that if there is, after insert or update or anything, any DML, if there is any issue, you cannot find out until and unless you are using that database dot. And how you can do that? From this database dot save result. So this method is returning database dot save result. That means what you can do, that is you can define a list, that is database dot save result, with some name, with some array name and bracket open, for that square bracket open close, and then you can put equals to database dot insert whatever. Say you are putting some account list. What will happen? In your database dot save result, you can just iterate through database dot save result, and you can find what are the IDs you have already inserted, what are the IDs of those records. If there is any issue, then you can find it within this save result array. Okay, how that works, what is the syntax, I'm coming to that. But understand theoretically what happens, and also this all or none, how that works, what is the default value, if we don't use it, how that works. All these things you should read from this database class itself. That's why I have given this link to you. So read through it, and if you don't understand anything, we will discuss that in our next class. Whatever you are not understanding, but read through it. Don't skip. Read through it. Now the other part I was thinking, should I go to insert? Yeah, I believe we can, and we can just have one small assignment for the same as well. So before that, let me complete the or give you the syntax. Just give me 1 second. Okay. So important thing is that database dot insert. This is a sample code. What is the difference between save result and without without save result and with save result? You can get the difference from here. This is one of the important and must read. Okay, this all or none. Now this database statements and DML statements and database methods. What is the actual difference between? Why should we use database.save result uh, and database.insert when we are doing DML? You'll get that from here. Read through it and we will get into the details next day, whatever is not clear to you. Fine.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so let's move into um, database.update now. Sorry. This is also important, like how you can get the save result. Like with the save result, you can iterate through that save result and check what is there. If there is any error, you can get the error message as well. Anyway, database.update. Let's get into this. This is the thing. Database.update, how you can utilize it? Same as insert, like you can use database.update and the record list. Now, what is our assignment? Our assignment would be, first you will create two fields in account or contact, whatever, wherever you want. Okay, create two fields. One is a pick list, and the values in that pick list should be silver and gold. So there is one pick list having two values, silver and gold. Silver is the default value. Like whenever the record is getting created, the value should be silver. Okay. Now,
Which objects, sir? Any of
any account or contact, wherever you want. So just create one pick list having two values, silver and gold. Default value is silver. Now create another one date time field, that is updated on. Field name is updated on. This is a date time field. Now what your class will do, you will fetch all the records where level is silver. Okay. If you are creating this in account, say you have created that in account. Okay. Then fetch all the accounts where the level is silver and just update it to gold. Update that field value to gold and stamp the current date time in the updated on field. Okay. And then update the list. So fetch in a list, fetch all the accounts where the level is silver. Now process those records and update the level to gold and put the updated on date time with current date time. That should be system.now. But anyway, this time I told you, but you should Google and find it out what should be the syntax, because you don't need to remember syntax, but you need to know how to find that syntax.
I create two field, one pick list having two value, silver and gold. Another field,
Another field is a date time field,
date time field.
updated on.
Yeah, we will fetch all the contact record and where
In your Apex method, you will fetch all the records where the level is silver
and
and you will update that to gold. Okay. And you will stamp the current date time in that updated on field.
okay. Okay, Deepak.
Clear? Clear to everybody? Is the problem statement clear to everybody?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So first do this and then write your test method as well. Next day, on top of this, we will update the things. Like update this with condition, like when we should update silver to gold. If it is updated once, if I don't want to update it again, then how we can work on that. All these things we will work on next day. Now, my point, from your last day's assignment, do you have any question? I'm just asking you again. Honestly, I couldn't look into assignment for like whatever you have sent. I couldn't look into all of your assignments, but I'll check that in this way. But important thing is that you should understand what does it mean by input argument and what does it mean by return type. So input argument and return type don't mix and match on these two things. Input argument is after defining the name within first bracket, whatever you are writing, that is your input argument. And input argument means the way you can put some data on within your method and you can work on that data. And what is return type? That is, you can put something out from your method, like from where the method is getting called, you are returning some value there. Okay, so that is return type. Don't mix and match these two things. That is one of the important thing. Now the second part, whenever you are writing any method, anything, any code, practically, first understand what you are asked to do. Second thing, write down the logic in pen and paper, that for this I have to do this. If you can break it down into that logic which is known as algorithm. Write down the algorithm first. Like if you have to print all the prime numbers between a range, I'm telling you, just print all the prime numbers between a range. So, and take that range from using input arguments. Okay, using input argument, take the range and print all the prime numbers between that. Then what you have to do, first thing is that I have to take the range. That means I have to take two integer as my argument, right? Write it down in pen and paper. Now the second thing is that I have to check all the numbers between that range whether those numbers are prime or not. So that is a repetitive job, right? Every number I have to go in between that range and then I have to check. So what is the way to do that? Repetitive job means there must be a loop. So how that loop should work, or how that loop should uh, execute, or what should be the range of that loop? So the input arguments you have taken, say lower range and upper range, then your for loop will start from lower range and it will go up to your upper range. And each and every number, whatever you are getting from this loop, you have to check whether that number is prime or not. Fine. So till now you have broken down the whole piece of problem into three parts till now. Now you will break it more. The fourth part, that is how to check prime number. What is the way to check prime number? First thing is that a prime number means a number which is divisible by 1 and itself, but not by any other number. Okay. What is a non-prime number? Non-prime number, a number which is divisible by any other number except 1 and itself. So for both prime and non-prime, 1 and itself, it will always be divisible by these two numbers. So with these two numbers, I cannot find it out whether a number is prime or not. That means I have to shift, or I have to focus on the negative part. That is a number which is not divisible by any other number between these two numbers, between the 1 and itself. So I have to go through each and every number. For any number, say the number is 95. If I have to check whether this number is prime or not, what I have to do? 1 and itself, that is 1 and 95, or obviously it will be divisible by these two. So I have to range through, I have to loop through 2 to 94 and start trying divide like try to divide with each and every number between 2 to 94. So I will try to divide 95 by 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, and I will check if it is divisible. Divisible means there is no remainder. There should not be any remainder when I am dividing it. Okay. So if it is divisible, then obviously it is not prime number. Obviously 95 will be divisible by 5, so it would not be a prime number. It can be divisible by some other number as well. So now this is the fourth part. Now the most important fifth part, that is how you can optimize your code. A number which has become divisible by any number between 1 and itself, the first occurrence of the divisibility, like when the first it is getting divisible by any number, you don't need to check the remaining numbers, right? So for this instance, 95, you are starting with 2. Is 95 divisible by 2? No. If 95 divisible by 3? No. Is it divisible by 4? No. Is it divisible by 5? Yes. So after 5, do you really need to check the remaining numbers? No, right? Because there is no point of checking that, because I already know that it is not prime number. So the efficient way of programming is that checking prime number after first occurrence of the divisibility, you should break that loop. You should come out of that loop. So there is a syntax to get out of a loop, that is break. You don't need to go through each and everything. And how it will make your program more efficient. Important thing is that whenever you are dividing it, even if it is machine, it takes some time. It has some processing time. If you are doing this division, that is this arithmetic operation, multiple times, obviously it will take some space, memory space, and that in RAM, and it will take some time. You can reduce both without like, if you can figure out how you should get out of that when it is not required. Like in this scenario, if you use break, then you don't need to count on from 6 to 94. It is almost 88 times your loop will execute. You can stop that execution with your logic. If you can do that, then your program will be more efficient, and your program will execute in lesser time with lesser resource. That is very much important. Remember that whenever you are now, the initial thing when you were writing your code, you were getting the syntax and all, that was fine. Now you have to think about two more things. One is program efficiency, and the other thing which I am about to cover now, that is the limit. So we are running this in cloud, and it has some limit. Like whenever you are writing Apex code, there are different limits, governor limits we have to consider. So we must write program considering those governor limits, and those are given for the good, uh, like not to restrict you, but to uh, make the system more efficient. And it should not break in between any operation. Considering all these things, these governor limits has been created by Salesforce. So I'm just giving you the list. You read through it first, and then we will discuss it next day. So this is the Apex governor limit.
Sir, you are not sharing your screen. Oh, you are
I
just
am not
sharing the
sharing.
link.
I have just put
Okay,
that
okay.
in message. Internet. Yeah. So go through it, and next day we will come back and we will discuss this one. So the important part till now, which I just wanted to, just give me 1 second. Yeah, sorry about that. So, uh, first thing, we should go through all these things. We should learn. Like today, I have given so many things which you have to learn, and that is going to take time. Go through it, and now onwards, we have to think how we can write efficient code, and considering the governor limits, we should write our code. One of the example is that uh, we must not write database.insert dot or database.update or any DML statement within for loop. Why? Because there is a limit how many for loops, how many DMLs we can write, we can execute from one piece of code, one piece of execution of the code. Like when we are doing any transaction, it can involve multiple code snippet in that. So considering all of them, we can only have 100 DMLs. So that's why we have to use it in more efficient way, so that we don't get closer uh, to these limits, whatever limits, governor limits we Salesforce has given to us. We must not get closer to that. We have to try to keep the distance. Like when you are driving, it is always told that keep a safe distance from your uh, the whatever you are seeing in front of you, whether that is a bus or truck or another car. Keep a safe distance. Here also keep a safe distance from this governor limit. Always try to do that. Okay, any question?
Okay, sir.
Okay, then we are closing today's call. Let me stop the recording first.